Get Involved Referee is brought to you by Pressbox PR. Pressbox PR puts your brand on the map. From a chat over a pint to the headline of a website, Pressbox PR takes your brand and gives it the recognition that it deserves. With a proven track record with multiple clients, you'll be able to see your press go beyond the box with Pressbox PR. Check out pressboxpr.co.uk for more information. Hello and welcome to Get Involved Referee with Des Roach, Steve Conroy and me, Lindsay Heron, as we look back at another, action-packed weekend in the SPFL Premiership, touch on the other major topics in the refereeing world. We'll come to the Premiership games in just a moment, guys, but I'd just like to pick up a couple of things with you. First of all, we obviously broke the story on our show a couple of weeks ago that VAR was coming sooner rather than later, Steve. And it's been confirmed that we're expecting an announcement this week. Yeah, I'm glad to say that we used the imminent word when we discussed it. Yeah, it's coming in. Still don't agree with the timing, but if it's there, it makes absolutely no point keeping it in the cupboard. So if it's here, we might as well get on and use it. The sooner the better. And apparently there's some minor creases to iron out, and once they are there, we're good to go. And then the fun will begin when we when we have the same mistakes as everybody else had when they started using it. Like you said before, Des, it's just give us an announcement, tell us what's happening, give the public some clarity.
Honestly, I don't understand why we are not the movers and shakers at the SFA, because we've said it for 6 months. Just give us clarity. I think the general public and general football fan would just appreciate saying, this is what's happening, this is what's coming, this is what we're doing, and give them the time frame. Again, I don't agree with it coming in half season, but if I've got it, use it. Looks like it's going to be the end of the month now, Steve. So we're only talking about maybe 2 or 3 matches before we break up for the World Cup. So I suppose it will give fans a taste of what to expect. It'll give us something for those bleak winter weeks where we are not involved. But yeah, as we say, it's coming. And I suppose now that it's here, get on with it. And I keep banging the drum. We are going to make mistakes, and people need to go with us. They made the same mistakes everywhere else it's been rolled out. We're going to do the exact same, and we're going to have to go through that before we come out into the sunshine. And sticking with the SFA, Des, I guess you were as shocked and appalled as the rest of us at the draconian sanction meted out to Jim Goodwin for his so-called post-match outburst over the whole Ryan Porteous penalty incident. I think it was excessive. I actually don't think is any manager ever been given that long a ban. But in my opinion, and I'm sure yourself and Steve agreed, as we saw it, he's getting a ban for telling the truth. As harsh as that may seem now, Ryan Porteous is a national treasure now. He's a Scotland international. He's a favourite player, and he is a fantastic player. But I think it's very, as you say, draconian. I think it's a very harsh ban for Jim Goodwin. I don't really see how it merits an 8-game ban, and is it 2 suspended and he's 6 off? Yeah. The thing is, Steve, I mean, I don't know if you remember, there was a racism incident involving Ivan Tonev, who was on loan at Celtic, who made a racist remark to one of the Aberdeen guys, and he was given a 7-match ban for that. I mean, that's a very serious charge. Racism is something we just abhor in the game for sure. So, I mean, to make it equitable to a manager calling a player a simulator, a cheat, and which he was, seems daft to me. I don't understand it, and very often we all here don't understand what the SFA say. As Des quite rightly put it, he's getting an 8-match ban for being right and calling it correctly. I still think that Porteous on that occasion cheated. We're not saying he's a cheat, but he cheated. And all Jim Goodwin did was come out and say that on that occasion he cheated. And let's point out again that the Hibs manager condoned and encouraged that cheating act, and nothing befell him. It doesn't make any sense at all. And it looks as though they're out to make an example of him. And I've had more than a few of my refereeing colleagues, ex-refereeing colleagues, have come out and said they wonder if the sanction would have been as much if they called a referee a cheat. Well, there you are. That's a very interesting point, Des, because, I mean, you guys have taken flack for many, many years, and the current guy's the same. But like you say, I don't remember a sanction quite as severe as this one. No, I don't. I genuinely don't. And I don't think you'd ever call a referee a cheat. I think a referee gives an opinion, and whether it's right or wrong, it's your you're right to decide. But for Jim Goodwin to get an 8-game ban, I mean, that's potentially 2 months off the sideline. He's got the World Cup coming up in November. Football's going to go into hiatus. When's he going to actually have the opportunity to influence his team and be on the sidelines? No, I think it was very harsh. And as we've said long and weary, the Hibernian manager Lee Johnson has said, my players' actions got a player sent off. So that will never sit easy with me. It will never sit.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you recall, but last season, Robbie Neilson made similar comments about Lewis Ferguson, ironically in a game against Aberdeen as well, where he effectively used the same language. He's conned the referee, he's simulated, he's dived, it's a cheat. He's a cheat, and nothing happened at all.
No, absolutely. I don't understand it in the slightest. And people talk about referees being consistent. There's no consistency involved there at all. Quite rightly, as you said, some people can say it and nothing happens to them. Jim Goodwin comes out, is quite right, in my opinion, in what he said, and gets 8 games. I'm the same. I've never known anybody to get 8 games. We were aghast when Mark McGee came up here with a 6-game ban.
Yeah.
But 8 games for that makes absolutely no sense.
No, I don't know if they're taking into account previous indiscretions, Des, when he was at St Mirren perhaps, or at Alloa or whatever, but regardless of that, it's like Steve says, it looks like they're trying to send out a message here.
And the wrong one, in my opinion. The wrong one. I think Steve used the word early, sterile, when we were talking. Football's not a sterile atmosphere. Football's a combative sport, and you're going to go for it. So if you have an opinion after a game, then you're allowed your opinion within realms, obviously. But I just think that was far too much. Far too much. See if they turn around and said, right, we're giving you a 4-game ban, 2 suspended, then I don't think anyone would be other untoward for it, and I think he would take it. But at the end of the day, and we'll reiterate it, he was only telling the truth.
Well, the other irony is, Steve, that a player could go in way over the ball and just about kill somebody with a reckless challenge, and he only misses 2 or 3 games.
Well, we'll bring it back, and I hate to keep reminding him, the Ross County red card in the first couple of games of the season, an appalling tackle, a serious leg breaker, and what was that? 2 games for
2 games. Ross Callaghan.
Yeah, for what he did. Mm-hmm. It just makes no sense. None whatsoever.
Unbelievable. Well, I dare say Aberdeen will appeal against that one, Des, so we'll wait and see how they get on there, but I wouldn't hold their breath if I were them.
No, I don't think it'll be to their fruition.
Okay, let's get to the weekend action then, and the first big talking point, I guess, would be in the Rangers St Mirren match at Ibrox. Nick Walsh in charge. Rangers are 1-0 up, and a very, soft penalty decision went Rangers' way, Steve.
Yeah, that's quite a way of describing it. It was never a penalty. Mm-hmm. And we've been on here, me maybe slightly more than Des, saying Nick's the best ref we've got just now. That doesn't change. I think he still is an excellent ref, but he called that one wrong. Mitigation, it was a very crowded penalty area. Gallagher did go in, so he's obviously seen contact between Gallagher and Cholak, and called it a foul. And I hate to use Desi's phrase, if you're the only one in the stadium that sees something, then it's probably a miss. There was no claim, there was no shout, there was nothing. Forgive me, I didn't see who the St Mirren defender was that took the pass from Gallagher. He was just getting ready to play it up. Nobody was saying anything. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody was surprised to see the penalty. It just wasn't a penalty. I think Nick, through the forest of legs, just miscalled it.
It looks, Des, like, Declan Gallagher wins the ball, and then there's maybe a slight touch on Cholak and he goes down pretty easy, and maybe that's what Nick sees.
Only Nick can tell you what he's seen. I don't. To me, it's a wrong decision.
Sure.
Declan Gallagher has won the ball. He's solo his foot, his studs, whatever has made contact with the ball first. Cholak has went down. Unfortunately, because Nick has and is, in my opinion and Steve's opinion, is our current best referee. But no, he got that one wrong, unfortunately. I don't think we can hide it. We can, and mitigation is to use Steve's word, it was wrong.
It's a big moment in the game because it's only 1-0, guys, and that's what VAR will sort, we hope, won't it?
Oh yeah, that's what VAR's there for. But and after me just saying, we've got it now, so use it. The exact same scenario, and we've said that in 5 weekends' time, that goes to VAR and it's overturned. It's not fair on St Mirren, and it is putting a whole different hue on the game that this season. It would go to VAR and it would be overturned, and it's not fair that that happens halfway through the season. Absolutely.
Rangers definitely got away with one there. They went on to win 4-0. Quite an interesting game, the Hibs Motherwell game, chaps. Grant Irvin in charge of that one. The first one I took notice of was a challenge by Joe Newell on Blair Spittle in the middle of the park. He seemed to go in really heavy, Des, and maybe caught him with his leg and his knee into the side of his body.
Steve and I had a wee chat with this earlier. I think it was a genuine challenge that he's went for the ball. I don't think he's went to do Blair Spittle. To do is what they call. Is it a nasty one? I just think that's what happens. It's a contact sport. The ball was there. The ball was played. Joe Newell, at the absolute worst, it's a yellow card, if that. But I think it was a genuine attempt to play the ball.
Mm-hmm. Just circumstances, Steve. It wasn't reckless in that one, in your view?
I'm happy with that. It is a contact sport. There's going to be contact. And if contact's in the contact and context, if contact is in the context of a genuine attempt at a ball, then fair enough. Maybe if you're in a really bad mood, it would be a yellow card, but nothing beyond that. But I would be letting it go as well. I wouldn't be calling anything.
Should Hibs have had a penalty? Should Motherwell have had a penalty in that game? A Paul Hanlon challenge and Connor Shields looked like he took him out just inside the penalty area.
Again, one word answer. Yeah, should have been a penalty.
Yep.
Yeah. But again, mitigation. I think he was maybe caught on the wrong side of it. The motion that he's probably seen from his angle. Yeah, but and Des was said in the last one, it's only Nick can tell you what he saw. In both occasions, you know that they saw a foul. All right, that's not what actually happened, but that's what they saw. And again, it's another one for VAR.
You agree with that, Des? Did Grant get that one wrong? He should have given Motherwell a penalty.
Yes. I think Hanlon, as he's went through, not going through, he's put his foot up. It's a foul. It's contact. It's in the penalty area. Yeah, I actually feel that was a pretty obvious decision, to be honest. I'm quite surprised that it wasn't given.
And no, it's no help from the AR1 on the main stand side either.
No, but I think AR1 has got other things to be looking at. He's got the offside to be looking at.
Right.
He's through a body of players. Grant is looking square on. Yeah, I thought it was a penalty.
Yep.
Probably no dubiety, I suppose, about the red card in the game. Ironically, it's Connor Shields who commits the foul. Clearly pulls back Ryan Porteous, who is the last man, if you like, or rather, he's heading in on goal.
Yep. No. Perfectly happy with that one, no question. And to be fair to the Motherwell player, there was nothing. There was no argument. Yep, open and shut case. And we talk about Mr. Porteous more than we talk about anything else in this programme. But yeah, that was a clear red.
He's our national treasure, Steve. We need to get him on.
We're getting more and more national treasures with you.
It's only Ryan Porteous.
And of course, it just had to be Ryan that scored the winning goal for Hibs as well, late in the game.
Yeah, although with my medical hat on, he took a sore one in the face doing that. One of his colleagues was waving the medical team on, and the rest of his team were patting him and shaking him on the head. Intelligence in football sometimes aren't good bedfellows. Well,
there you are. Thankfully, it was okay. There was no real damage, but it does bring up a good point, because there is a school of thought you should stop the game for a considerable length of time when these things happen.
Well, I'm with rugby on this one. Anytime that there's a significant head injury, I honestly think that they should be taken off and do a formal head injury assessment the way that they do in rugby. Mm-hmm. There's so much news and incidents of neurological conditions with ex-footballers and ex-rugby players. And there was one, just last week, the ex-international rugby players, I think it was 15 times more likely to contract things like motor neuron disease.
Yeah.
there should be absolutely no other way other than bringing somebody off, and we'll use Mr. Porteous. He should have been brought off and had a formal head injury assessment, which is going to take a good 10 minutes. So obviously you don't want to be left short for 10 minutes. So do we do what rugby does and bring on a temporary substitute until you make your mind up? But, a concussion, when we were all playing football, you just rub your head and get on with it. No excuse anymore, not when people are coming down with life-limiting neurological conditions.
Absolutely. I think there has been some discussion about temporary subs in view of this concussion situation, Des. Is that something you'd go along with?
Absolutely. I mean, other than Steve and maybe Craig Napier, we're not doctors. So if you've got someone in your field of play that's got a head injury, I'm not going to make an analysis of it. I'm not going to make a judgment of it. So yes, absolutely, you should have that minute of time, 10 minutes, whatever it need be. You're not there to be judge and jury. If someone's got a head injury, you stop the game and you let them be properly assessed and you let them be looked at. So I would have absolutely no question about that. As I said, we're not all doctors. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, interesting to see if that ever develops, but maybe one to talk about in the future. Just looking at some of the other games, Livingston Ross County, Graham Granger in charge of that one. Bit of a juicy challenge by Keith Watson in that one on Joel Newbley, which, two things, was it reckless? And secondly, was he, preventing a goal-scoring opportunity? For
me, we've spoke about it as the high yellow, low red. It was just within the limits for me. I'm quite happy to support it. Graham's a fantastic young referee. He's making his way up through the ranks. It'd be easy to give a red card in that situation, but I'm okay with that. I'm not too sure. It was far out enough, wide enough in his angle towards the goal that he was going at. I don't think it was an obvious goal scoring opportunity. But it wasn't too violent for your liking either. No, I don't. You like it rough, Des. Clearly, this is obviously your thing. Football's a contact sport. You're not getting there to. I don't know. What would you say? It's not patacake. It's a grown man's sport. Go in, and as long as it's within the rules, as long as it's fair and it's genuine, yeah, I like physicality in football. Yeah, not a problem with that. Cool. And you agree, Steve? Not a red.
I don't think it's a red. Des was straying into Souness territory there. But I agree with his sentiment.
That's never been said.
That's the closest you'll ever get to Souness. I agree. No, I don't think it's a red. But everybody's brutality-ometer set differently, so I wouldn't have a complaint about it.
Dundee United Aberdeen, bit of a shock result there actually, 4-0 for the Old Terrors. Bottom of the table, just shows you how much they missed Jim Goodwin, Des, not in the dugout. Willie Collum in charge for that one. Big penalty call which was given. Ross McCrory caught wrong side as Sibbald came past him and seemed to go down pretty easy, but Willie gave the penalty.
Yep, in my opinion it was wrong, yeah. There wasn't a penalty in it. Any movement, any contact was instigated by the United player. The Aberdeen player was totally passive in it. He didn't make an attempt, didn't try and kick him, didn't try and dispossess him, didn't try to tackle him, more to the point. It was bad defending, but there wasn't a foul in it. It wasn't a penalty. And again, I think Willie was caught. And when you see it, the player, and we've said this again, those moves are practiced. You can't tell me that is just momentum.
Off the cuff.
Absolutely not. Those things are practiced. And he deliberately cut in front of McCrory. Willie, and I'm saying it was caught in the wrong position. There's no way anybody could have predicted what he did there. Willie was caught on the wrong side and unfortunately made the wrong call because of that.
Yeah, it looks like he's done him there, doesn't it, Craig Sibbald, just the way he's bumped into McCrory and fallen to the turf.
Yeah, I'd made a couple of bullet points when I watched it. It is never, ever in a month of Sundays a penalty. Not at all. Sibbald, he initiated it, which we've already discussed. I don't understand why Willie didn't get it, because he had an unobstructed view. there was really, I've paused it and I've looked at it. He's got an unobstructed view, but it's just wrong. And unfortunately, I think a couple of wrong decisions are now keeping more and more in with Willie's game. No, it was never a penalty. And it was only his call. It wasn't the fourth official's call. It wasn't the assistant referee's call. It was only Willie's call. And he called it wrong.
And to the extent, would that, in your view, constitute simulation from Sibbald then?
We've spoken about this. I don't know. He's created the contact. Is it simulation? It's clever play by him. I don't know, Steve. I personally, I wouldn't be cautioning Sibbald for it, but I wouldn't be sending off Robin McCrory either, because I don't think any action was actually taken.
No, it just awarded the penalty.
Yeah. There could be an argument for simulation, but we need to be careful saying things like it was clever play when we'll just criticise somebody for saying the exact same. I didn't, when I saw it and I watched it back, I wasn't thinking of simulation. To do an Andy Walkerism, he made the most of it. I don't think it was a foul, but again, two people that close together in the penalty area, there's going to be contact. But no, it wasn't a foul.
2-0 at the time, Des, and I know Aberdeen were struggling in the game, but that just puts the game out of sight for them, doesn't it? So again, it's a big call which changes the course of events.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 2-0. Then they've got a penalty. The game's done, and Aberdeen's heads are down. We are not here as managers and coaches, but the game's done. The game's done for Aberdeen.
Just one last thing, then, just if you guys could clear things up for some listeners in terms of when you stop the game for injuries. So, obviously in the very final minutes, an incredible end to the game at Perth. Dre Wright seems to hurt himself when he goes for the ball, and then he's hobbling about and eventually hits the turf. But while he's doing that, Celtic score the winning goal. Would you ever stop the game in that instance?
In that instance, no. Not for a second. And it's sod's law that he hurts himself. He hurt himself defending the original cross. Looked like he twisted his ankle, rolled his ankle, whatever. And it bounced to a colleague who played it back to him, and he couldn't do it because he was hobbling. But that's unfortunate. That's what happens when you're playing football. You stop a game if there's a head injury or a serious injury of any other sort. Somebody hurting their ankle. Unfortunately, no, that's just one of those things. Damn unlucky, but one of those things you wouldn't be stopping that.
Yeah, it's just major injuries, Des, isn't it? You wouldn't, and particularly head injuries, it would have to be another part of the anatomy to stop the game, wouldn't it?
Absolutely agree with Steve. You wouldn't stop for that. If he's rolled his ankle, he continues to play. It's not a serious injury that you're going to stop the game for. So no, unfortunately, it's went against St Johnstone. But them's the breaks.
Oh, okay. In closing then, chaps, who's your top official of the week? Who do you reckon was the best man in the middle?
This week, I know we copped out last week and gave it to everybody, but this week, in recognition of one of the up-and-coming guys, even though we've said that he made a mistake, he made quite a mistake towards the end of the game in the Motherwell Hibs. I think otherwise he had a cracking game and he should be proud of himself. Everybody makes mistakes. He's a youngster. He's coming through. He'll learn his trade and he'll learn from that. Hopefully he'll not do anything like that again. So this week I'm giving it to Grant Irvine.
Agree with that. I think he's got to that level. He's worked hard. He's moved him. He's progressed himself up. So he's now at the SPFL in the Premier Division. So we've got to promote it. We've got to back him up. So not a problem with that at all.
Excellent, chaps. Well, here's hoping we finally get that VAR announcement from the SFA this week, and we can talk about it on the next edition of Get Involved Referee. We'll see you next time.